All right, next question comes from Carlo. In various Fool podcasts, it has been mentioned that it is a good idea to keep track of one's thesis for investing in stocks or funds. For me, the thesis consists of various numbers as well as text. Spreadsheets work well with numbers, but don't do well with holding a lot of text. Do you have a recommendation for a format or app to keep thesis notes?
Yes, a lot of fools talk about this. And on this show, one fool talked about it was Buck Hartzell, who was on last mailbag episode. And he talked about keeping a journal maybe a year or two ago when he was on. So since Buck sits right next to me, I asked him, so tell me about your journal. He pulled it up. So it's a Word doc. And at this point, it's almost 600 pages.
Oh, wow.
So he's kept it for years. But he showed me what he just entered yesterday. So he just sticks with a Word doc. And whenever he makes any sort of purchase or sale, he records it. He records the reasons why. And he says the most important thing is to look back at it in a year or two to say, like, based on what I knew then, did I make a good decision? If generally you're making good decisions, great. If not, you need to change your process. I put the question out to other folks in the investment group, see how they keep their journals. David Kretzmann does it in Google Docs, same sort of thing. He puts down whenever he buys or sells, puts valuation metrics, any sort of price information, any sort of information he used to make the decision, just to keep track of things. Tim Byers uses a combination of Airtable, Notion, and Box, which he acknowledges is probably too complicated, but he says Notion is a great catch-all because you can embed Google Docs and PDFs, write notes, and all kinds of things. A few folks use Microsoft OneNote, which is great because it integrates with all the Microsoft products. And others, like me, use Evernote, which is generally free, but if you use it for, if you have too much information in there, you do have to start to pay. And the good thing about Notion, OneNote, and Evernote is they do have capabilities of integrating a spreadsheet. So if that is something where you want to have a spreadsheet and text, those should work. If you're often using Excel, I imagine OneNote is probably best. Since they're both Microsoft products, it probably makes the integration a lot easier.
Emily, do you keep an investing journal?
I do. I tend to do it very similar to the way Buck does it, though. I keep most of my investments I make for qualitative characteristics. So it's really valuable to me to look back on what I was thinking when I made the investment and why I chose to buy it. But I do keep an Excel sheet, and it's not just for my investments, it's for all of my finances, actually. But I keep my stocks in a tab in that spreadsheet, and I track their performance there. But when I think about looking at my investments and gauging performance, I tend to look back on what's changed since I made that original investment versus what I'm thinking now. Although I will say, I have not been investing as long as Buck, but it already is getting a little disorganized.
600 pages. Wow.
Yeah. Well, the value of both and David Kretzmann said the same thing with his big Google Doc is that it's just so easy to search it. As long as you include the ticker, things like that, it's just easier to find whatever you're looking for in that one big doc.